Hey, how you doing? Austin Hilton here, and in this video we're going to be talking about Tesla. It's been a while since I've done a Tesla video, but it was time. I want to say it up front, I am a Tesla stock owner. I'm extremely bullish on this stock, and I'm going to continue to add because this stock is just going to head up and up and up. I firmly believe that really, I don't even know what the upside here is. I don't know what the upper stock price limit is. Is it 3,000? Is it 1,500? I don't really care. I'm in for the long term and I'm in for the ride. And in this video, we're going to be looking at their overall chart and looking at 2 or 3 pieces of information coming out and overall kind of looking at what do I think that this stock is going to continue to do. I'll cut to the chase. It's going to continue to go up. I think that this could easily be a minimum $1,000 stock by the end of the year, if not $1,500 or higher. Kathy Wood has set it for 3,000 plus. I think that the upside potential for this stock is insane because the overall potential for Tesla is insane. I ran some numbers and did a little bit of due diligence, did some research, and I've got some numbers before we actually go and look at those charts and things. I've got some numbers here. I've got notes I'm going to tell you about. But before I do that, I wanted to cut to the chase and tell you that this video is for entertainment purposes only. And if you get value out of this video, please do 2 things. Subscribe to the channel because I'm going to be bringing you more and more Tesla videos, as well as drop a like if you get value out of it. And please do that. It would help me out. I greatly appreciate it. So let's talk about the overall opportunity that Tesla has in front of it. And again, I got some notes for here, and I'll put up a graphic for you so that you can see what I'm referring to. So here's some interesting statistics. Did you know that last year in 2020 that the overall EV space in the United States was only 2%? So that means that for every 100 cars sold in the United States last year in 2020, only 2 out of 100 were EV cars. I want to stop and think. I want you to think about that for a minute. Think about that. The massive amount of opportunity as the United States and the world shifts to EV cars. 2 out of 100 in the United States were EV. Here's the other interesting fact. Out of that 2%, 79% of the 2% was Tesla. So for every 79% of all EV cars in the United States are Tesla cars. Stop and think about that. Okay, so how big is the opportunity just in the United States alone? And I'm not even talking about globally because globally it's as big or it's right there with it, right? So 100 cars sold, out of every 100, 2 of them were Tesla, and Tesla is selling 79% of all EV cars. That is an insane amount of, number one, opportunity, upside opportunity, and how many more EV cars can and will be sold as the United States moves its shift to EV, right? You've got the government making moves to look at investing in infrastructure for charging infrastructure. Tesla, they are bar none the leader in the overall marketplace. I've got some more interesting facts for you. So did you know that by 2025, so approximately 4 years from now, that the overall EV market will be 10% of the cars will be EV. So it's still in that scenario, out of 100 cars, instead of 2%, it'll be 10%. So instead of 2 cars for every 100 cars sold will be EV, 10 will be EV out of the 100. So that's, in 4 years, we're looking at an 8% jump in overall EV cars sold. And remember, Tesla is hands down the winner in that race, right? They're the only ones who pushed all their chips in the middle and went solely into EV. All of the legacy car companies, Chevy, GM, Ford, etc., they're just now kind of starting to get their feet under them and getting moving. And Tesla has such a tremendous amount of additional runway in front of them, so they will continue. That's hundreds and thousands and millions and more cars sold from what their current levels are. So just wanted to give you kind of an overall view of what the overall marketplace is. So those are some stats just to keep you aware. If you didn't know, that's how much of an opportunity they have in the United States. And the same thing can be applied to the world in that scenario. Okay, so with that said, let's go look at and take a look at some charts and a little bit of information related to Tesla. So you can see from this 6-month chart right here that there's a few key things I want to point out. Number one, I want to point out that right here, this is when the NASDAQ itself lost about 1,000 points. And you can see that we hit our low for Tesla at 563, and the stock immediately bounced back up about 25% within about 7 days. Now, right here, this particular move down right here is again another small market correction that happened as well. So we dropped down and hit into the 611s, and you can see that since then the stock has been on a tear, going up $150 and up 24%. So some key things here is that at 754, the stock has really broken through that key resistance level as of late of $700. From here, I think that again, it's not gonna take very long to break through the $800 level and then on to the $1,000 plus per share price. And again, I think that it's really hard to put a price on this and say a 12-month time frame. The analysts have got it. It's like I believe it's. The analysts have got the target price at like 760 or something. Depends on who you follow. As you know, historically, analysts are a little bit kind of a lagging in that scenario, and so I'm not putting any credence in what the analysts think this stock's going to be. I think that overall, this stock is absolutely 1,000 minimum in the very near future, most likely by summer. May, June time frame. The NASDAQ has to work with us, and we have to continue to have the market go in the right direction. But Tesla being a bellwether related to kind of the overall NASDAQ, things like that, as long as the NASDAQ continues, and we will have pullbacks, right? The stock will pull back a little bit. I view those pullbacks as buying opportunities because I think overall, excuse me, 1,000, 1,500 are extremely within the realm of possibility by the end of the year. And I think, it's crazy. It can go up here from anywhere. So I've got really 3 pieces of information for you here, kind of just to move forward real quickly. We all know that Tesla has made a move to accept Bitcoin and to invest in Bitcoin. And so I thought this was interesting. Tesla rips higher as Bitcoins provide steady tailwind. Bitcoin right now hitting over the $63,000 level, which some people never said it would never get over 50,000. It is blew by 60,000. 60,000 was that kind of that resistance level there. Just blew by it. I think that overall Tesla is good. It's kind of I agree that it's a tailwind for Tesla. I thought this was a interesting piece of information to kind of look at that. And Tesla accepting Bitcoins as payments could set off a chain reaction among other automakers to start heading down this path over the next 12 months. We expect only 3% of Tesla will be purchased with Bitcoins over the next year. Given the increasing global demands around the world to use crypto, we continue to view much strategic move as a smart one for Tesla, as the company continues to be a thought leader in the massive EV space. Tesla's the leader. Obviously, we know they're the leader, but looking ahead at potential, this is the other thing. At Tesla Catalyst, we do have some catalysts coming up. Earnings day is due to arrive in roughly 2 weeks, and analysts will be looking for something more definitive for guidance. Okay, so I thought that was an interesting piece of information I wanted to bring you. So this particular article was grading the overall EV, hottest EV markets, EV manufacturers, Tesla being the pioneer, the main one that they really were talking about. The only pure play among the notables, you guessed it, was Tesla. So, and I thought this was very accurate. Putting an accurate estimate on Tesla is Tesla stock is a tough task. It is. You've heard me already mention it a couple times. The reason for the high grade is a combination of price momentum, which I've already mentioned to, and improving financial performance. They are absolutely improving financial performance. And one cannot make the argument that Tesla stock is fairly valued. However, the upside the upside in this one is too good. Although analyst estimates vary, I mentioned that, right? There's a consensus that the stock would continue to rise at an exponential rate in the coming years. I think that if you go back to the things that I said to you, when I opened this video, if you look at the stats, that overall 2 out of 100 cars in the United States sold are EV cars, and out of that 2%, Tesla owns 79% of that 2%, and that 2% is such a tiny number. Think about how many more EV cars will be sold as we as a culture adapt to the technology we continue to build out the infrastructure. The government is making the right moves, right, to build out the charging infrastructure. And by the way, that's just the United States. The same thing can be said for global, okay? So right here, the company has a foothold in all major EV markets global, has a solid relationship with China, has delivered close to 500,000 vehicles in 2020. So, I think that this one is it. Why he gave an A plus? It's the gap between the fundamentals and the stock performance. The company is now the biggest automaker by market cap, despite delivering a fraction of the cars. I thought that was a great point. Okay, the reason I wanted to point to this one is this particular piece of information is that shares are bursting over recent resistance near 700 in all of its key moving averages. I concur. Okay, and so some technical tech analysis I was doing earlier just shows that we've blown past it. We're going to continue to blow past 800, 900. It just really doesn't seem to be anything to stop it outside of if we get something strange coming up on one of the calls, or if we get a different type of catalyst. But here's the funny thing: I read all the news every day, guys. Ironically, right now the news on Tesla is not overly bullish. It's pretty bearish, actually. There's quite a bit of bearish news. For every one bullish piece of information you see 2 or 3 bullish. I'm sorry, just the opposite. For every bullish article, you see 2 or 3 bearish articles. And so the overall news is not overly, that great right now, but the stock continues to run. And I think fundamentally it continues to run, I think because of a lot of reasons, but it's in its groove, and it's just going to continue to move in the right direction. We have catalysts upcoming, and the stock is just a good investment because I think of that gap between of how much they have, that opportunity they have, really they really have. We need to see prior resistance hold as support should the stock pull back. There's a plethora of moving averages in that area, and here's the thing: the stock will move back. Okay, there will be volatility in this stock. It will happen, but overall, I'm extremely bullish on this stock, and I think it's going to continue to rise, and I think that it's going to easily hit 1,000 maybe by summer, and just from there, the sky is the limit. So let's wrap up with a few final thoughts. So in summary, I don't have a lot to say that I haven't already really said. I will go back and I will point you at the stats that I gave you, is that the overall market for Tesla is huge. If you look at the legacy automakers are and continue to be late to the party. They just simply are not doing enough, and Tesla has such a huge head start in every scenario as it relates to this: manufacturing, innovation, market demand, market perception, and by market I mean the buyer, their overall mix of cars and everything of what they're doing. Tesla is just hands down. They just have everybody else beat, especially the United States legacy automotive makers. Yes, there are pure EV plays coming out of China, NIO, XPeng, Li, etc. They will continue to compete in those relative markets in China and Europe and things of that nature. But you will not see those guys coming in the United States as of yet. I mean, they're making kind of moves of that, but really the entire United States market is Tesla's for the taking. And remember some of those stats that I gave you is that by 2025, 10 out of every 100 cars should be EV sold. The majority of those will be Tesla. Will the other legacy makers have additional cars to compete? Sure, but you will still see Tesla dominating the market and probably still selling 70 to 80% or whatever that number is. It'll be high, being Tesla's sold out of the 10%, out of the 10 out of every 100 sold. And the numbers are staggering when you start to think about how big the opportunity is, and the share price will always reflect that, because Tesla is it's an innovator, and they're just going to continue to do so. And the stock price on this, 1,000 by summer, 1,500 by the end of the year, may be laughable. It might be more than that. I mean, 3,000 per share price could be sooner than 2000 and 24, 25. I mean, it could be way sooner than that as this stock continues to move. So it's going to be fun to watch as a shareholder. I'm going to continue to add more shares on pullbacks and just enjoy the ride. Hope you enjoyed this video. I'll see you in the next one. Take care.